The popularity of the television program Orange is the New Black has greatly increased interest in female prisons. Even though the show tries to be accurate about what happens in prisons, it is still a very long way from reality. For some reason, people frequently highlight the challenges and horrific features of male prisons, belittling female prisons as being a smoother ride. However, jails for women are just as horrifying and occasionally even worse than the typical prison for men. We all prefer to believe that the punishment corresponds to the crime when it comes to criminal justice. After all, it makes us all feel better to believe that the worst criminals are locked away somewhere. But what if the penalty isn't appropriate for the crime? What if the punishment is much harsher than what is justifiable? Do you think someone would wake up one day and plan to commit a crime in order to spend the rest of his life behind bars? That's simply not how it operates. Welcome to All About Prison. Today, we'll walk you through the 5 worst jails for women worldwide. The cruel medical and psychological treatment they receive on a daily basis will astound you. These facilities range from having minimal security to being total hellholes. Any hardened criminal would quake in terror at the notion of returning there. 1. Rikers Island, New York. Located in the East River between the Bronx and LaGuardia Airport, Rikers Island is one of the world's biggest prisons and is home to about 10,000 convicts. Rikers is a synonym for worst place someone can be among law and order watchers. 2 former inmates, who claimed they were repeatedly raped by the same corrections officer, were recently settled with by the city, which described a pervasive culture of rape and other sexual abuse. Inmates spoke out about the lack of access to menstrual care, describing one scene in which a guard threw tampons in the air and watched inmates scramble over each other to grab them. Number 2. FGU IK-14, Russia. IK-14 prison for women in Mordovia, in central Russia, is one of the most feared female correctional facilities in the nation. There is a line in the yard when someone enters the colony. "Welcome to Hell" is written on a sign at the entrance to IK-14. All shout, "Fresh meat has arrived." Naturally, the detainees respond to this by feeling terrified. Prisoners may have conditions like losing fingers while spending hours at sewing machines. Given the prison's notoriety, women who are condemned to serve there regularly take drastic steps, such as slashing their wrists, to escape going there. Young and elderly ladies being beaten are a common sight. They sobbed and begged for help. Inmates who argued with the administrators were thrown in the isolation cell for a few days. Number 3. Julia Tutwiler, Alabama. The Julia Tutwiler prison for women is located in the most remote area of the southern state of Alabama. Tutwiler Women's Prison is one of the oldest jails in Alabama. It is a breeding ground for sexual violence. Among women's prisons in the United States, Tutwiler Prison has historically had the highest rate of sexual assaults. In-depth evidence of regular and severe officer-on-inmate sexual abuse was discovered during interviews. Many of the jailed women had become pregnant after being raped by prison officers. Given that Tutwiler, like the majority of jails, lacks a place for infants to live, giving birth means bidding these expectant mothers farewell. Number 4. Santa Fe Women's Correctional Facility, USA. Despite being one of the most developed and civilized countries in the world, the United States of America has some of the worst jails for women. The Santa Fe Women's Correctional Facility in New Mexico is one of the worst of them. It is infamous for its harsh and inhumane conditions, and it has the highest death rate of any women's prison in America. Additionally, the prison is filthy and unhygienic, and many inmates are forced to use plastic bags to relieve themselves because their cells lack functional toilets. The general atmosphere is one of squalor and death. Number 5. La Mesa Prison, Mexico. Located close to the border between Mexico and the United States, the prison is linked to Sister Antonia Brenner, a Catholic nun known as La Mama, or the Prison Angel. La Mesa Jail is well known for its tough women, harsh conditions, and extremely common riots. The prison experienced 2 fatal riots that occurred in 2008. The first, which started on September 13, resulted in the deaths of 3 prisoners after inmates were enraged at the murder of another prisoner. After being denied water because of the previous uprising, the second riot started only a few days later and resulted in the deaths of a staggering 19 prisoners. Prison should be a place where the most threatening and disruptive criminals are kept behind bars. However, they should also serve as rehabilitative settings that give prisoners an opportunity to develop personally and become productive citizens after their release. Unfortunately, a lot of women's prisons fail to live up to this ideal and serve only as breeding grounds for new crimes and misery. What suggestions do you have to help the inmates' conditions after learning the inside scoop on these worst prisons? Comment below. Thank you for watching. For more prison videos, don't forget to like and subscribe.